In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the theory of Charles Darwin, that was survival of the fittest. Now, this survival of the fittest is based on the concept of natural selection. And this natural selection, we all know what does it mean? That if a particular organism is able to adapt to the changing environment, is selected by the nature, and once the organism is selected but natural, that organism will reproduce, and in long run the variation which has come into that organism which has made it possible for that organism to survive will keep on passing on from one generation to the next generation. So this is natural selection. Let us see some more examples of natural selection. One of this example of natural selection is this industrial melanism. Industrial melanism, before I just read the key point, what it is actually, a kind of a small description related to it. This industrial melanism was seen in England. Now, in England, before industrial revolution took place, white colored moth and black color moth, both types of moth were found on the countryside parts of that country. The moth which I'm talking about is Betunaria. Now this particular moth was there on the trunk of the tree, and it was seen that before the industrial revolution, near towards the countryside of the England, tree trunk were covered with lichens. So white color moth used to camouflage with that lichen present on the tree trunk, and it was not seen by the predators easily. On the contrary, black color moth which was present on the tree trunk was easily observed by the predators and was consumed. So the population of white colored moth as compared to black color moth was more. But after the industrialization took place in England, most of the tree trunks got covered with black color soot, that is the charcoal powder it got coated with. Now what happened? Because of that was one reason, and second, more because of the pollution also. The lichens, you all know lichens are pollution indicators. So because of the higher pollution in that area in England, the lichens, they were dead. So when the tree trunk was covered with black colored soot, this black color moth was now easily camouflaged with the tree trunk as compared to the white color moth. So at that time, when the study was conducted, they concluded that now after industrial revolution, the population of black color moth was more as compared to the white color moth, because the black color moth was easily camouflaged with the tree trunk. This process was called as industrial melanism. Now I'm reading the key points. In England, before industrial revolution, white-winged moth were more than the dark-winged moth. Due to industrialization, tree trunk was covered by dust and coal particles. As a result, white-winged moth were seen by the predators more easily than the dark-winged moth. So, the population of white-winged moth decreased and the dark-winged moth increased. You can just see it through this pictorial representation also. The moth which I am talking about is Betunaria. This is called as peppered moth. Two varieties of it is present. One which is melanic, means black color, and which is, you can say that white color moth, or it is dotted moth which is there. And this was the condition after the industrialization. Dark color of the trunk because of the deposition of the black soot, and black color moth is easily camouflaged with the background, whereas this white color moth was easily seen by the predators. So their population reduced and their population increased after the industrial revolution in England. This shows natural selection. Natural selection means black color moth had a survival benefit over a white color moth for the predators, because it was able to camouflage and it was not able to camouflage. This is natural selection. One more type of evolution, which is an example of natural selection, is called as anthropogenic evolution. Anthropogenic evolution is also called as chemical resistance. Now, again, I'll just explain what it is. Anthropogenic evolution actually is a gift of human beings. What we have done, when we have mosquitoes, we have many kind of pests, many kind of insects, which we want to get rid of them, we spray pesticides, insecticides on them. Now what will happen? According to the nature's law, some or the other population of insect, of mosquito, will have some or the other variation in their characters, which will survive the spray which we have done on them. And later on, generation after generation, that resistance towards that pesticide which we are spraying will develop in them, and there will be a day when they will be resistant towards all kind of pesticides and insecticides which we have sprayed on them. I'm just reading it. Due to excessive use of pesticides, resistance variety of microbes has been developed in very less time. Thus, harmful microorganisms are becoming stronger and stronger and more resistant towards the antibiotics. This thing can happen on the agricultural field also when we spray DDT. Now keep on spraying DDT for many years. After some years, you will find that the insects which we are going to get, we want to get rid of them with the help of spray of DDT. They reduces in number. They are not killed. They are safe from that. Why? Because they had some long back, within 20-25 years before, some mosquitoes or some insects, they were resistant towards DDT, and we kept on spraying DDT. So what happened? That resistant insects, they kept on reproducing, and after 25 years, now we have a population of insects which is mostly resistant to DDT. So this is a kind of an evolution which is done by the human beings, a chemical resistant evolution, and we call it as anthropogenic evolution. This is also happening with the microorganisms which are infecting our body. Now we all know antibiotics are there, which are used to kill the microorganism, harmful microorganisms in our body. So antibiotics will kill them, but some of the microorganisms will have such kind of variation which will survive that kind of antibiotics. And later on, when they will develop, that variation will keep on passing from one generation to the next generation. And ultimately, such kind of microorganisms will be developed which will be resistant towards the antibiotics. This anthropogenic evolution can also be explained with this photograph. See. You have white color insect, red color insect. Now red color insect is denoting the resistant variety. You have a spray of the insecticide on it. Now all these white, most of them they got killed up, but this red remained because it was resistant towards it. This was the result. Mostly white were over, they were killed, only red were remaining. Then you keep on, this generation will keep on reproducing, and we kept on spraying DDT on it. Now once after later generation, means just count 10-15 generations, 20 generations after that, many red color, they survived, they were reproduced actually because it survived. So they reproduced, so their number increased. White will also increase, but on a lesser side. We kept on spraying the DDT on it, or we kept on spraying insecticide on it, and then we are able to kill these white ones which are non-resistant varieties. Red one, they are resistant, they will be not killed. So what will happen in the last? It will be having only the resistant varieties, one or two non-resistant variety will be there. So now if you spray DDT on it or spray any kind of insecticide on it, nothing will happen. So this is a kind of an anthropogenic evolution or a chemical resistant evolution happening. Apart from Darwin, there was one more scientist who is worth mentioning when we are talking about theories of evolution, is Hugo de Vares. Now this person came up with a kind of a theory which is called as mutation theory, and what he said that evolution happened because of the large mutations happening in one go. though now we know that mutation is the result of, is the baseline of the evolution, like mutation leads to variation, variation leads to evolution. But at that time, when Charles Darwin's theory was there, he said that mutation is needed for the variation, but in his concept, mutation has to be at a larger level. It should be a one-step mutation, which is called as saltation. That was the theory given by the Hugo de Verres. I'm just reading it. His work was on primrose. Evolution is caused by a sudden large difference in the population, that is mutation, not minor variation as per Darwin. Mutation causes speciation and is called saltation, or a single step large mutation. This was the theory given by him. He said that it is a big jump, a big mutation happening in a population which will lead to the change, which will lead to the evolution, not as Darwin said that small variations will come, and at the last these small variations, once they accumulate, they will lead to the evolution. So Hugo de Verres was also one of the scientists who worked on the theories of evolution. Thank you.